Have you ever looked at your lives and thought, everything seems fine, so why do I feel so empty? Have you ever done everything right, followed the safe path, built something stable, and yet, deep inside, something still feels quietly broken? And what if the life you worked so hard to protect is the very thing slowly holding you back? There was a man named Daniel Harper. On paper, Daniel had the kind of life many people envied. He had a stable job as a project manager in a well-known company. His salary came in on time every month. His bills were always paid. His apartment was clean, comfortable, and predictably quiet. His routine rarely changed. Wake up at 6:30, coffee at 7, work by 8:30, dinner by 7, sleep by 10. Repeat. From the outside, it looked like peace, but inside, it felt like something else entirely. Daniel couldn't remember the last time he felt genuinely excited about anything. Not the kind of surface-level happiness that comes from finishing a task or buying something new, but real excitement. The kind that makes you lose track of time. At first, he ignored it. He told himself, this is what adulthood looks like. He reminded himself that stability was something people spent their entire lives chasing, that having a predictable income, a safe environment, and a structured routine was something to be grateful for. And he was grateful, but he was also quietly tired. Not physically, emotionally. There was a strange heaviness in his days, not enough to alarm anyone, not enough to make him stop functioning, but enough to make everything feel slightly dull. Like watching a movie where nothing really happens. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and nothing really changed. Daniel still showed up to work on time, still completed his tasks, still smiled politely during meetings, still answered messages, still paid his bills. From the outside, everything was stable, but inside, something was slowly wearing down. One evening, after a long but uneventful day, Daniel sat alone in his apartment. The lights were dim. The room was quiet, except for the soft hum of the refrigerator. He opened his laptop, not because he needed to, but because he didn't know what else to do. He scrolled through social media, friends traveling, old classmates, starting businesses, someone announcing they had just quit their job to pursue something meaningful. Daniel felt something tighten in his chest. Not jealousy, not exactly. Something closer to confusion. He leaned back in his chair and whispered to himself, "Why don't I feel anything?" That question lingered longer than he expected, because the truth was, he didn't feel much anymore. Not deep joy, not deep sadness, just a quiet, steady flatness. And for the first time, Daniel began to wonder if stability had come at a cost he never fully understood. A few days later, something small happened, the kind of thing most people would forget within minutes. But for Daniel, it stayed. He was at a cafe near his office, waiting for his usual black coffee. While standing in line, he noticed an older man sitting by the window. The man looked ordinary. Worn jacket, slightly hunched posture, a notebook resting on the table in front of him. But what caught Daniel's attention was the way the man was writing. Slowly, carefully, as if each word mattered. There was a calm focus in his movements, not rushed, not distracted, just present. Daniel found himself watching longer than he intended. When his coffee was ready, he hesitated, then walked over. "Excuse me," Daniel said, a bit awkwardly. "Can I ask what you're writing?" The old man looked up, surprised, then smiled gently. "Just thoughts," he said. "Things I don't want to forget." Daniel nodded, unsure what to say next. But something in him didn't want to walk away just yet. "Do you come here often?" he asked. "Most mornings," the man replied. It helps me think." There was a pause. Then the man looked at Daniel more closely. "You seem tired," he said, not unkindly. Daniel let out a small, surprised laugh. "I get that a lot," he replied, "but I sleep fine." The old man shook his head slightly. "Not that kind of tired." Daniel didn't respond, because for some reason, he knew exactly what the man meant. They talked for a while, nothing dramatic, no grand revelations, just simple conversation. But before Daniel left, the old man said something that stayed with him. "Be careful with a life that feels too safe," he said quietly. "Sometimes, it slowly takes things away from you, without you noticing." Daniel frowned slightly. "Like what?" he asked. The old man smiled, but there was a hint of sadness in it. "Your curiosity, your courage, your sense of aliveness." Daniel walked away that day with more questions than answers, but something had shifted. That night, instead of turning on the TV or scrolling through his phone, he sat in silence. And for the first time in a long time, he allowed himself to be honest. He realized that his life wasn't bad. It just wasn't alive. He had built something stable. But in doing so, he had slowly removed all the uncertainty, all the risk, and with it, much of the meaning. He had traded unpredictability for control. And somewhere along the way, he had also traded growth for comfort. Over the next few weeks, Daniel began to notice things he had ignored before. How every day looked almost identical. How he avoided anything that felt unfamiliar. How he postponed small desires with thoughts like, maybe later. Later. That word had quietly shaped his life. Later, I'll try something new. Later, I'll take a risk. Later, I'll figure out what I actually want. But later kept moving, and life kept passing. One Saturday morning, Daniel did something simple, but different. Instead of following his usual routine, he took a train to a part of the city he had never explored. No plan, no agenda, just curiosity. At first, it felt uncomfortable. He didn't know where to go. He didn't know what to expect. There was no structure to hold on to. But then, something unexpected happened. He started noticing things again. The sound of street musicians, the smell of food from small family-owned restaurants, the way sunlight reflected off old buildings, small details, ordinary things. But they felt new, alive. Daniel spent the entire day wandering, and when he returned home that evening, he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Not happiness, not excitement, but something quieter. A sense of connection, as if he had briefly stepped back into his own life. That day didn't change everything overnight. He didn't quit his job. He didn't suddenly become a different person. But it opened a door, a small one, and Daniel realized he had been living with that door closed for a very long time. Over time, he began making small changes. He signed up for a weekend class he had once been curious about. He said yes to invitations he would have normally declined. He allowed himself to try things without needing them to be productive or efficient. At first, it felt strange, almost unnecessary, but slowly, something began to return. His curiosity, his energy, his sense of being present in his own life. Daniel's job didn't change. His apartment didn't change. His responsibilities didn't disappear. But his relationship with his life did. He stopped seeing stability as the goal and started seeing it as a foundation, not a cage. Because stability, on its own, is not the problem. The problem is when stability becomes the only thing you protect, when it becomes something you build your entire life around, instead of something that supports the life you actually want to live. Daniel understood now that a stable life can quietly break you, not because it's wrong, but because it can slowly remove the very things that make life meaningful. The risk, the uncertainty, the growth, the moments that make you feel fully alive. And the most dangerous part is that it happens quietly. There's no sudden collapse, no dramatic warning, just a slow fading. Until one day, you realize you've been living, but not really living. If there's one thing Daniel would tell you now, it's this: don't confuse comfort with fulfillment. Don't confuse routine with purpose. And don't assume that just because your life looks stable, it means it's complete. Sometimes, the most important changes don't come from fixing what's broken. They come from noticing what's missing and having the courage to gently bring it back. Because your life is not meant to be perfectly controlled. It's meant to be experienced. So if you've been feeling that quiet emptiness, that subtle sense that something isn't quite right, don't ignore it. It's not a sign that your life is failing. It's a sign that something inside you is still awake, still searching, still wanting more. And maybe that's where your real life begins. If this story resonated with you, take a moment to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel for more meaningful stories. Thank you for spending this time here, wishing you a life that is not only stable, but truly alive.